have a large arsenal of cars. Which one would you guys say is your favorite?
Yeah.
It changes.
Yeah?
But I'm into the R34, GTR R34 right now. I got to see some. We did a reference gathering trip in Florida, and we happened upon a group of guys who had almost a warehouse full of imported R34s, and they're quite impressive in person.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's my current favorite, I would say.
I'm a fan of one of the starter cars, the 180SX, and with one of the features we've introduced this year, engine swaps, we can kind of keep that car throughout the entire campaign.
Oh, really?
And level it up.
So if you really fall in love with a certain, car model, you can just sort of follow it through and soup it up, or you can follow the new shiny thing if you want. So that's
exactly.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then how would you say, for me, like I've always been a little bit more on like the arcadey side of racing games, and I think that a lot of Need for Speeds kind of cater to whether you're like a gearhead or more arcadey, but how do you feel like Heat caters to, either side of the coin as far as what type of racing fan you are?
So our default handling model leans towards drift, as you see Mike taking these corners with a kind of a default car. And it's very accessible. We call it our heroic driving model.
Okay.
But then as you progress, you unlock more and more parts. So one of the things Rep does for you is it kind of lets people know who you are. So then they're willing to sell the better parts to you, because it's kind of it's a tight market because all the racers are in town.
Cool.
And so as you unlock better and better parts, you gain the ability to equip parts that will make your car handle in a more extreme drift fashion or a more extreme grip fashion.
Okay.
And then each of those require more skill.
Yeah.
But they're opt-in. So you can beat the game with the default handling model, just kind of right down the middle. Or if you really want to set the fastest race times, you go extreme grip.
Okay.
And if you want to set the highest drift scores, you go extreme drift.
Okay.
So the player has a lot. Yeah, exactly. The player has a lot of agency.
That's awesome. I also got to say, we saw it a second ago, but I love the transition into nighttime, like the sort of like camera flipping upside down.
Yeah.
And that's great. Very cool.
So I saw there was a prompt for a second that there was a billboard nearby. Is that sort of a side quest of something you can be doing?
It is. So smashing billboards is kind of a Need for Speed staple.
Yeah.
Little unruly
Just
behavior.
confirming, making sure that's still there.
It is. It is.
So yeah, where are we off to next?
So Anne is showing us, it's essentially an invitation to our first night event. So she's going to show us the night scene and give us a chance to prove ourselves.
Cool. And speaking of nighttime and the cops being a little bit more aggressive, I understand that cops have more than just cars at their disposal when your heat level raises enough. Like what else do they throw at you?
So we have spike strips.
Okay.
We have a helicopter.
Really?
If the helicopter's on you, it's very hard to get away.
Yeah, no kidding.
We have something we call rhinos, which are essentially
rhinoceroses. The animal, I'm familiar.
They don't look like that though. They look like SWAT trucks.
Okay, cool.
And they tend to be driven head on right at you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just take a turn and suddenly there's a rhino and it ruins your race and you got to adapt on the fly.
It'll take a chunk of health off you for sure.
I love that countdown clock. Like, it's great design.
Really stylish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I see the aesthetically, like I love the sort of night vibe here.
Yeah.
But I also appreciate that you can opt in and out, and that you can kind of control whether you want to go to one or the other, and balance things out that way. Now I know that usually you have to, once you bank you sort of gain enough points and cash that you kind of have to bank it or you lose it all. Does that mechanic work similarly to previous Need for Speeds, or?
Rivals featured a similar mechanic where you could it's a similar dynamic, and actually one of the things we like about this is by having day, now that intensity has a chance to kind of subside, and you can kind of take it a little bit easier during day and kind of drive at your own pace. So we have, we feel like we've by adding day, this intensity level is much more manageable.
Cool.
Yeah. you can have longer play sessions.
Yeah, I like the tension of trying to get to a safe house is something I really liked about Rivals, and I think that's cool that that'll be represented in Heat. And so your Heat level, again, so it's sort of like almost like a multiplier, is that right?
It is.
Okay.
It is. So right now, you can see up there he's got no heat.
Okay.
But it will start to climb. He should have some after that raise.
Okay.
And
We'll see some behavior change